There exists a language spoken without words, understood by those who recognize the subtle art of understated elegance, where true wealth whispers rather than shouts. In the grand ballrooms of Newport and the private clubs of London, a specific code of dress has been quietly passed down through generations, never advertised, never explained, simply worn with the confidence that comes from knowing you belong. The difference between nouveau riche ostentation and old money refinement lies not in the price tag, but in the pieces themselves, timeless classics that have survived every fleeting trend, every fashion revolution, every shift in cultural taste. Among the polished corridors of power and privilege, 5 particular items have remained constant, appearing generation after generation on the backs of those born into dynasties, trusted by families whose names grace university buildings and museum wings. These are not mere garments or accessories, they are symbols of a philosophy, where quality trumps quantity, where heritage outweighs hype, where the patina of age is more valuable than the shine of novelty. The navy blazer stands as the first pillar of this sartorial tradition, a piece so fundamental to old money dressing that its absence would be as unthinkable as a library without books. Originating from the British Royal Navy in 1837, when Queen Victoria requested that officers of the HMS Blazer wear a standardized uniform of navy blue double-breasted jackets, this garment transcended its military origins to become the cornerstone of refined casual dressing. The true old money blazer is never trendy, never oversized or slim-fitted according to current fashion, but rather cut in a timeless silhouette that would look equally appropriate in 1955 as in 2025. The brass buttons are never shiny but slightly tarnished, the shoulders are natural rather than padded, and the fabric, always wool or wool blend, develops that characteristic softness that only years of careful wear can create. Families who understand this tradition own blazers that have been passed down, sometimes through 3 generations, the golden buttons bearing the subtle dents and scratches that tell stories of yacht club regattas, garden parties, and countless Sunday lunches at the country estate. This is the moment to support our journey into the world of timeless elegance and refined luxury. If you appreciate these insights into authentic style and the codes of true sophistication, please subscribe and activate the bell notification to join our community. The second essential piece is the Oxford shirt, specifically in white or light blue, a garment so deceptively simple that its importance is often overlooked by those unfamiliar with the old money aesthetic. This is not the crisp, heavily starched shirt of corporate boardrooms, but rather the soft, button-down collar Oxford cloth shirt that originated at Brooks Brothers in 1896. The genius of this design lies in its versatility and its subtle rejection of formality. The buttoned collar was considered almost rebellious when first introduced, a casual American interpretation of the stiff English dress shirt. Old money families embraced this piece because it embodied their values, practical enough for everyday wear, refined enough for most social occasions, and democratic in its simplicity. The true Oxford shirt is made from Oxford cloth, a basketweave fabric that becomes softer and more comfortable with each wash, developing a lived-in quality that perfectly encapsulates the old money preference for aged elegance over pristine newness. These shirts are worn until they are nearly threadbare, the collar slightly frayed, the fabric so soft it feels like silk, and only then, reluctantly, are they retired from service. In the wardrobes of old money families, you will find dozens of these shirts, some purchased decades ago, each one a trusted friend rather than a disposable fashion item. The loafers represent the third pillar, specifically the penny loafer or tassel loafer, shoes that communicate leisure, privilege, and a certain nonchalance about formality. The penny loafer emerged in the 1930s, inspired by Norwegian fishermen's shoes, and was popularized by American Ivy League students who adopted them as the perfect alternative to lace-up dress shoes. The name derives from the practice of students placing a penny in the leather strap across the vamp, supposedly for emergency phone calls, though the tradition was more about belonging to a specific social set than practical necessity. Old money individuals wear their loafers without socks in summer, with thin cotton socks in winter, and never, ever with anything that could be described as trendy or fashionable. The leather is allowed to crease naturally, the heels wear down asymmetrically according to the wearer's gait, and the overall effect is one of comfortable confidence rather than polished perfection. Families with true generational wealth own loafers that have been resoled multiple times, the uppers softened and shaped by years of wear, developing that unmistakable patina that cannot be artificially created or purchased new. The fourth essential is the cashmere sweater, particularly in classic colors like navy, gray, camel, or cream, worn as a layer rather than a statement piece. Old money style rejects logos and obvious branding, so the cashmere sweater is always unmarked, its quality evident only to those who know the feel of genuine, high-grade cashmere fiber against the skin. These sweaters are typically purchased from heritage brands like John Smeaton or N. Peel, companies that have been producing cashmere knitwear for generations, using only the finest fibers from the undercoat of Mongolian goats. The true test of old money cashmere is not its newness but its longevity. These are sweaters that last 20 or 30 years, carefully stored in cedar closets during summer, repaired when small holes appear, and treasured as reliable companions through countless seasons. The fit is never tight or fashionable but rather relaxed and comfortable, designed for layering over Oxford shirts and under blazers, creating that effortless, unstructured look that characterizes authentic old money dressing. In the homes of generational wealth, cashmere sweaters are folded carefully in drawers, organized by color and weight, each one a functional piece of a larger wardrobe strategy rather than a fashion statement. The final essential piece is the leather belt, specifically a simple, unadorned belt in brown or cordovan leather, with a modest brass or silver buckle that bears no logo, no designer name, no embellishment of any kind. This belt represents the old money principle of invisible quality. It is made from full-grain leather that will last decades, developing a rich patina and a supple flexibility that only genuine age can create. The leather belt is purchased once, perhaps twice in a lifetime, from craftsmen who have been making belts the same way for generations, using traditional techniques of vegetable tanning and hand stitching. Old money families understand that true luxury lies not in conspicuous consumption but in owning fewer items of exceptional quality, pieces that improve with age rather than deteriorate, investments in longevity rather than trends. The belt holes tell a story, showing the natural fluctuations of weight over years. The leather darkens in places where hands have buckled and unbuckled it thousands of times, and the brass buckle develops that soft, mellow glow that only constant wear can create. These 5 pieces, the navy blazer, the Oxford shirt, the loafers, the cashmere sweater, and the leather belt, form the foundation of a wardrobe philosophy that has guided the truly wealthy for generations. This is not about fashion, which changes with the seasons, but about style, which remains constant across decades. The old money aesthetic rejects the anxiety of keeping up with trends, the exhausting cycle of buying and discarding, the desperate need to signal wealth through obvious logos and recognizable brands. Instead, it embraces quiet confidence, the security that comes from knowing you belong, not because of what you wear but because of who you are. These pieces share common characteristics that reveal the deeper philosophy behind old money style. They are all understated, never flashy or attention-seeking. They all improve with age, developing character and patina rather than looking worn out. They are all made from natural materials: wool, cotton, leather, cashmere, substances that breathe and age gracefully. They all come from brands with heritage and history, companies that have been producing the same quality for decades or centuries. Most importantly, they all communicate membership in a specific social class without saying a word. They are shibboleth garments, passwords in fabric form. The genius of these 5 pieces lies in their versatility. They can be combined in countless ways to create appropriate outfits for nearly every social occasion that doesn't require formal evening wear. Navy blazer with Oxford shirt and loafers for weekend lunch at the club. Cashmere sweater over Oxford shirt with khakis and leather belt for autumn walks on the estate. All 5 pieces together create the quintessential old money uniform, appropriate for everything from casual Fridays at the family office to Thanksgiving dinner at grandmother's house. This uniformity is intentional. It removes the anxiety of dressing, eliminates the need to think about fashion, and allows the wearer to focus on more important matters. When you understand these 5 essential pieces, you begin to recognize them everywhere in the world of old money: in photographs of Kennedy family gatherings, in portraits of Rockefeller descendants, in candid shots of European aristocracy at private events. You notice that while hairstyles change and accessories vary, these core pieces remain constant, a testament to their timeless appeal and their deep roots in the culture of generational wealth. The lesson here is not that you must buy these exact items, but rather that you must understand the philosophy behind them, that true style is about quality over quantity, heritage over hype, and quiet confidence over loud ostentation. In a world increasingly dominated by fast fashion and conspicuous consumption, these 5 pieces stand as reminders of a different approach to dressing, one rooted in tradition, sustainability, and the belief that the best luxury is the kind that whispers rather than shouts.